Hi guys and welcome back. Today is just a quick little character design of this character that I've been wanting to figure out for a while now, and she is nicknamed Traveler Girl, and I have a series of illustrations that I want to create for her and challenges and design elements that I'm really excited about figuring out. I love having a concept and then figuring out how I can put that into the details and having this overall look to it. And it's something that I haven't really done a lot of since I've gotten out of school, since those certain assignments that had to push me in that direction. So I think that this is really going to help me grow in a way that I loved working, but I have faded away from. But as far as the design for this character, I've been thinking about her in the series for a while now, and I've had a really hard time just getting momentum of designing her, with just not procrastinating, not getting stuck in getting one thumbnail down and then getting frustrated because it didn't look like what I wanted it to. And that's what I decided today was going to be. I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to make something happen, and it needs to be nothing in particular. It doesn't need to be something that's going to absolutely continue on. In fact, I know for a fact that it probably won't even look much like this at all when I'm finished with her design. But having something down and having something to work off of is so much easier to move forward than having nothing. Just like when you're sketching and you have a blank paper, it's much harder to get something down than when you have guidelines and you've had a few seconds even just to sketch something out. So I am getting that initial thought down of her, getting that out there, and then I can work forward from that. I can start really delving into the variations for this character, because that is a huge part of character design, is figuring out variations for them, trying out lots of different things and then finding what does work, because very rarely is it going to be even close to the beginning of the character design. And I struggle with that one. I think I struggle with making quick thumbnails that I like. A lot of times I'll do a quick thumbnail that I feel frustrated with because I don't think it looks good. And I think that that is all just a training thing. It's a practice thing, something that I haven't done a ton of, so I don't know how to make it happen. And I need to get past that initial fear of it not looking good so that I can actually get practice at doing thumbnails of characters. So for this project and all of these illustrations, I want it to look somewhat like a post-apocalyptic world a little bit. I want it to look like it's been a very long time and things have happened, but the world has recovered to a certain extent. And she is this girl that wants to travel and see the world, and I want her at different iconic places, and I want to show how they've changed. And I think that that's going to be a really fun design element and challenge, I should say, of figuring out what's going to happen to them, what events happen to these places, how I can show that change, and how I can show how people have reacted to it, or how that space has physically changed because of it. And I love design challenges like that. And I also need her character to fit with that world and fit with that theme. I want her to look very much like she has found things along the way. She's repurposed lots of stuff. She's fixed what she does have, and she finds little knickknacks that she loves, and she puts that as part of her clothing or part of her overall style. And I just want her to look like she has a very strong sense of self and how she looks, and she enjoys things, and she enjoys making them a part of her ensemble, her clothing. And those are elements that did not come through in this first pass of her character design. It was actually something that is very integral to her, because the environment that these characters are going to be in is a huge part of character design. In fact, it's extremely necessary to be thinking about both of those concurrently, of your character and the environment that they're going to be in. And I kind of forgot about it. I finished this one up and I was like, wait a minute. I think that I was supposed to show her in more of a rugged, apocalyptic type situation, and it did not come through in her character design here. But it's okay, because that's something that, now that I'm aware that I forgot in the first pass, I can be a lot more thorough and attentive to it when I come to the next phase with the variations. I can look up a lot more things on ways for her to repurpose items, or different ways that I can show that it's been cobbled together. And for the line work for this piece, I feel like I'm getting a little bit better at working faster. I love doing line work, and I love getting it extremely precise to the point that it's a little bit unnecessary. I like to zoom in and make sure that everything is very cleanly fit together. There's no little tails sticking off where there shouldn't be. So I like making sure that everything is just completely perfect. But when I'm working on something faster like this, I need to be able to move quickly from one step to the next. And historically, when I've done pieces like this where I've done line work, but I've felt very rushed and like I needed to do it very quickly, I've usually felt very frustrated by the line work because I've been sloppy with it and it's gotten a little bit out of hand. It looks messy and it doesn't look like what I want it to look. And it can be very irritating to me, but I do feel like I got a little bit better at it for this time around. I moved quicker, but I was more attentive to certain things that I knew would make it either look more polished or things that would make it look more sloppy. And I tried to avoid the sloppy things. I tried to make sure that there weren't any huge gaps and that I was paying attention to the overall shape of the lines that I was creating rather than being so quick that I wouldn't let myself re-edit things. And then I was prioritizing whether I would zoom in and fix things or not. And mostly I tried not to zoom in too close and fix too many things and just let myself move from one area to the next and be very single-minded with it. And it definitely helped. I think that kind of a process of working from one to the next would really help when I am trying to spend more time on the line work too, because I have a habit of moving from one section to a completely different section. Well, not completely different, but a different area, and then taking too much time on that and just rethinking it a little bit more. But I think if I just sitting down and moving from one place to the next that was connected to the next and lost myself a little bit into the flow of where it's going, it would help me be a little bit faster when it comes to the line work itself. And I think that's why when it came to coloring her, I had a lot more fun than when I usually do when I do these loose sketches. But I did end up coloring the line work, so it's more of a soft brown. And the only areas that I kept it black was around areas that I ended up keeping a darker color, like her gloves and her shoes. But I really liked the effect of that, and it's something that I've done a little bit of. But overall, I think that it really fit with this. It gave it more of a atmospheric look, like the light is bouncing off and hitting her, and it wasn't quite as stark as that black was. And that helped it be a little bit more immersive for me as well. But overall, it was just really fun picking out the colors for her and figuring out how I want that to fit with her aesthetic. I want her to look rugged and practical, but with pops of color that feel very personalized, like things she's picked up. So that bandana on her arm, I want something like that to be a bright color, something that you might see while you're walking by and love the color and just want to have it and have it part of your clothing. But mostly it's very rugged and it's just neutrals and army greens. And I think that those are elements that I had a lot of fun figuring out. I would like to push in the future having more hodgepodge of colors, like she has a bunch of like little things sewn on, like patches like I mentioned, or tassels or things that she's found that have a lot of different colors, so that it has those pops of colors in the details that she's picked up, but the base clothing is still neutral. And I loved painting her skin. I knew that I wanted it to look very suntanned and sunburnt at the same time, just like she's been outside for a long time with the beating heat of the sun above her. And I loved painting that and finding different reds that would push different things. I think that I did most of that like sunburnt area with a darker red orange, and then I put a very magenta on top of that to make it even pinker in the core of those burned areas. And I just made sure that I put it on the raised areas of the skin. I tried to remember when I had a sunburn and remember what areas were the worst that got burned. But overall, I just had a lot of fun sitting down and drawing a character and just enjoying the process of that. I used to draw a lot more characters just sitting down and drawing them when I was in high school, and I miss that a lot actually. So overall, I think that this was really fun to just get back to my roots of drawing out characters. And that is it for today. I'm glad that I have something working for her. There are a lot of things that I realized I wanted to have in her character design after working on this one and knowing that it wasn't in there. So I feel a lot more motivated to start working on more designs of her and figuring that out and just moving forward with it. So overall, I think that this was successful in lighting a fire under me to get working on her and get some things done. But I post every Wednesdays and Saturdays. So if you'd like more art videos, I've got them. You can just hit subscribe and hit that bell so you'll get notifications. And I will see you guys at my next video.